Today I want to show you my Lightroom to TOPAZ Denoise AI raw workflow. Things have changed a little bit since the new update for TOPAZ Denoise AI version 3.3.2. Let's check it out. Hello everyone and welcome to the Joy of Editing with Dave Kelly. So I want to show you my Lightroom workflow when you want to process raw files, when you want to denoise raw files with TOPAZ Denoise AI with the new update version 3.3.2. I'm going to start out by showing you Mac, and then at the end I'll show you how to do PC. There's just a little difference with the PC version, but it's very similar. By the way, TOPAZ Denoise AI is on sale for $59.99 up until October 15th. So you got it on sale. Plus you can use my promo code. If you click on my affiliate link in the description below, use my promo code David Kelly, that's all one word, David Kelly, at checkout. You'll save an additional 15% off the sale price. You can also get the image quality bundle on sale right now, which includes Sharpen AI, Gigapixel AI, and Denoise AI. Three great products for $159.99, normally $259.97. Plus, you can use my promo code David Kelly on there as well and save an additional 15% off that price. All right, I'm starting out with a Mac workflow. Now, I want to thank Ken Tony for letting me use these images of these birds. I've used some of these in the past, but I want to use them again today. And the reason I'm doing that, let me go to the develop module, is to show you after I denoise these with TOPAZ Denoise, these raw files, when I bring them back into Photoshop, I'll be able to use all the profiles that come with Ken's camera, as well as the Adobe profiles. I have a Canon 5D Mark II. My profiles don't work. So TOPAZ works with most cameras, but not all cameras. I don't get the profiles with my camera. I can still use it and all, but I'll just have the basic Adobe color profile available for me, which is fine. I just don't have the ability to use the other profiles, but hopefully that'll change in the near future. Now you can either use Lightroom and batch process out a bunch of images into TOPAZ Denoise AI, or you could use TOPAZ Denoise AI as a standalone application as well. But again, today it's all about the Lightroom workflow. I'm going to go ahead and type G to get all my thumbnails back up, and I'll be back in the library module. That's a shortcut for that. Now, thanks to the good folks at TOPAZ, we can do this new workflow, which is really nice. All I need to do, if I wanted to batch process these 4 images here, I can just go ahead and select all of these images. I'm just going to do a Command A, and that selects all of my images. And by the way, TOPAZ highly recommend that you do your denoising pretty much the first thing before you do any other type of processing. It's best to do your denoising first. These images are straight out of Ken's camera, so there's no adjustments on them whatsoever. Now, here's the cool part. On Macs, all you need to do is grab any one of these photos, and they all come together, and just hover over your Denoise AI icon. Left-click with your mouse, drag them over, hover over the icon, and release it. It'll open up Denoise AI, and all those images that you selected will come into TOPAZ Denoise AI. That's pretty cool. My first image is displayed on the screen, and as you can see down here, I have all 4 images in here. I'm going to go ahead and click Select All 4, check that all on, because I'm going to do these all with the auto settings here. And you'll notice that Denoise has picked the best model for me. You see the little light bulb here? That's the suggestion for me. These are raw files, and Denoise said, hey, we suggest you use the raw model for these, okay? And again, I have the auto setting on, and this is the settings that it has picked for me. I'm not going to touch recover detail or color noise reduction. I'm not going to touch it. I find I generally don't need to mess with that too much. Let me go ahead and zoom into this image so you can see right here. Okay, give it a second to go ahead and update itself. If I left click on my mouse and hold it down here, you can see see all that noise in the image. You can see the color noise and all the noise. When I release the left click of my mouse, there you can see it's totally denoised, and it does a beautiful job. Notice something here. Every time I do something like zoom in or move my image around, Denoise will automatically update itself. Now, if you have a slower computer, like an older computer, and you don't want to wait for that, you can go ahead and shut that auto update off. And to do that, all you need to do is come up here to the menu, click on Topaz Denoise AI and go to Preferences. And then you could come here, see where it says Auto Update Preview. You can shut that off. And then you would have to manually click an Update button for it to update itself. In other words, if I shut this off, you'll notice over here, see where it says Update Preview, then you'd have to click that each time. But I leave it on because my computer's relatively fast, so if you have a newer computer model, I'm sure you could just leave that on. While we're here in Preferences, there's a couple things I want to point out. You see here where it says Apply Raw Color Correction. The way I understand it, Topaz are telling us if you are working from Lightroom, it's best to leave this checked off. In other words, don't turn this on because you'll be doing all your adjustments in Lightroom, so leave that off. And the other thing is, if you're not sure how to set up your AI processor, just leave this on auto and Denoise will figure out the best processing method for your computer. If you click the drop down, you have CPU and your graphic processor, but just let Denoise AI figure that out for you and you should be good to go. That's all I really want to show you about preferences for now. I'm just going to get out of here. I'm happy with my first image. I have select all four selected, but you notice here, let's look at the second image. I haven't clicked it yet, but you notice it says must preview image to determine auto settings. So you have to click on each one of your images for Denoise to figure out the auto settings. And all the auto settings will probably be different. Some may be the same, but they'll generally be different because it's going to determine the settings for each one individually. So let's click on the next image and give it a second or two to update itself. Okay, and as you can see, these numbers are different here, which correspond to remove noise and enhance sharpness. And we can move this around, but this image has a lot of noise in it, as you can see. But that looks really good. Here's the before, and here is the after. If I wanted to bump up that noise, or not bump up the noise, but remove more of the noise, but it looks really good to me, but I could take this remove noise and move it up just a little bit. Now there's a problem when I do that. You notice it changed it on the top one as well. So here's my recommendation. If you have to do them each individually, shut off the select all four. Let's click on our second image. Actually, let's click on the first image. Make sure we're in the auto setting for it. So let's click on auto. It'll go ahead and do its auto thing because we were happy with auto. Now we go to our second image. And again, let's do the auto setting. Here's the auto setting. And I think it needs a little more noise reduction. So I'm just going to take this remove noise and move it a little bit more to the right. Get rid of that noise. That looks better. I might even give it a little bit of extra sharpness here. Okay, so that looks a lot better. Now I can move on to my next image. And let's click auto for it. And let's hover over the bird here. Let's move this around so we can see this bird here. Okay, so there's the auto setting, and I think that looks good for that one, so I'm going to be happy with that. Let's go to our last one. Okay, let's find this bird here. And let's do auto, see what we get with the auto. Yeah, and that looks good as well, so I'm happy with that. Now, after I've done that, I have to click select all four. And when I do, they're all going to have their own individual and unique settings. But that's kind of important. If they're all going to be on auto, not a problem. But if they're going to be different, make sure you uncheck the select all first and then adjust each one individually. And at the end, click this back on because you want to batch process all four of these back into Lightroom. On these four images, I thought auto would work for all of them, but it ends up that this second image required a manual adjustment. Just to recap here, if you think that auto will probably work for all of your images, start out by having select all checked on and then start working through your images. As soon as you find an image where that's not going to work, before you make a manual adjustment, shut off select all. Make the manual adjustment on that image and then continue down the line and adjust the rest of the images accordingly. And then when you're all said and done, click select all back on. Now, all my images are ready to go. Select all is checked on. All I need to do at this point is click save for images. Now, when I do, we come to this start batch processing dialog box. It opens up for us. This is important now. Whenever you're doing RAW files, image format, Topaz recommend that you choose DNG. This way you'll preserve all that high quality information in that RAW file. The other thing that you want to do is see where it says Save Directory. And for this Lightroom workflow, this is very important. Don't choose Custom, choose Source, because what's going to happen, they're going to go back into that same source folder. And you'll see why that's important here in a second after I click Start. Now, I'm going to go ahead and click Start. It'll start the batch process. I'm going to leave this in real time so you see how long it takes on my computer. So it's going to go ahead and do its thing, and it's really quick. I'll put my information up on the screen so you can see the information for my computer, and it is almost done. As you can see, 4 files. It did that in really a short amount of time, and just like that, it's complete. And you'll see this check mark, meaning it is done. Now I can go ahead and shut down Denoise AI by quitting it. And now I'm back in Lightroom, but where in the heck are my files? We don't see them here. That's not a problem. Here's what you have to do. This is the next step. Come to the file folder that these files are in, which is this guy right here, Ken Tony Bird Images. All you have to do is right click with your mouse and look for Synchronize Folder. Click on Synchronize Folder, and you'll get this dialog comes up. It says Import New Photos for. Click Synchronize, and just like that, in a second here, you'll see those images coming into Lightroom. And if you'll notice, they say they have the name Denoise AI with the rest of the file name, and they have this raw.dng tagged on to the end. So we can tell these are the ones that came from Topaz Denoise AI, and they are denoised. But now you may ask yourself, hey, where are the original raw files? I'll show you. This is the next step. Right-click on any one of these images, and then say, go to Folder and Library. And when you do, now you see the regular raw files come up. So we got the ARW file, which is a Sony file, next to the denoised file from Topaz Denoise AI and all the images. Now, if I select this first image and the second image next to it and click on this XY comparison, and let me get rid of my side panels, and I can go ahead and zoom in, and you can see the image on the right is the denoised image. The image on the left is the original. They look identical, except this one has no noise, which is really amazing. But it does a beautiful job. But that is the Lightroom workflow when you're using a Mac. It's slightly different, but almost identical with a PC, and I'll show you that right now. Well, I'm going to take that back. I'll show you that in a minute, but first let me show you. Let's go ahead back to single view here. Let me go on my denoised file. As you can see right now, I got the denoise file up of this image. And if I come over here to develop, you'll notice if I go to my profiles, you'll notice I have my Adobe profiles, and I also have my camera matching profiles. So that's cool. I want to show you that. That's very important. So you have all those profiles that you can work with. And then you also have your lens corrections that you can work with in here. So you can turn on like remove chromatic aberrations and enable profile corrections. You can do all that stuff as well. Now remember, I said those profiles may not be available for all cameras. They're not on my Canon 5D Mark II, but they are on Ken Tony's Sony camera. And now here's the workflow for PCs. It's slightly different only on the very first step. Everything else is the same now, so I'm not going to go through everything, but just to show you the first step. And the first step is this. PCs, for some reason, don't let you just grab your images and drag them onto your Topaz Denoise AI icon and open up Topaz Denoise AI. It's a little bit different. Topaz seemed to think this is either an issue with Adobe or Windows. It could be one or the other. You can either come to the file folder, right-click the file folder, and click on Show in Finder, or you can click on any one single image. Don't select a bunch at once, but just one of the raw files. Right-click on it, and then find Show in Finder. Or on a PC, it would actually be Show in Explorer. They call it Finder on a Mac, but Show in Explorer on a PC. Click that, and then that folder of images will come up. Now, all you need to do is select the images that you want to send into denoise. Just grab them, and then you can left click, hold down, and drag and over the denoise icon, then release the left click of your mouse. And now your images will open up into Topaz Denoise AI, just like what happened when I showed you how to do it with a Mac. There's just that little bit of a difference, and from this point on, everything is the same that I showed you. When you're done, you save it out and just follow that same procedure I showed you with Mac, and that's the only little difference here. Well, there you go, everyone. This is my Topaz Denoise AI version 3.3.2 Lightroom Topaz Denoise AI raw workflow. Give it a try. Let me know what you think. Hey, if you enjoyed this tutorial, please give it a like, share it with your friends, and if you're not yet a subscriber to my channel, please subscribe, click that bell notification icon. Then every time I upload a new tutorial, you'll be notified about it. I want to thank each and every one of you for joining me today on The Joy of Editing with Dave Kelly, and I'll see you all right here next time. But until then, happy editing.